you ever photograph Genesis?
I didn't, thank God.
Phil Collins?
Didn't, thank God.
Yes.
I'm an indie kid. I didn't really photograph Genesis.
I saw Genesis in 1980 at the Queen's Hall, which was over there. It's a car park now. And the thing I remember was the lighting was really good, and right at the end, as I was walking out, I walked past a pillar, and there was a pile of sick that looked like blancmange, and I was like, fucking hell, look at that. It looks like blancmange. It was wobbling.
It's horrible, isn't it? You go to a gig, everyone remembers the songs, but you remember the sick.
A blancmange-like substance wobbling to Phil Collins.
Some gigs are like that, aren't they? You don't like the music.
So, about, where are we now? So, September, November. So about 4 months ago, sat just over there, one August afternoon, just been to see Leeds play, and I got a telephone call from a mate of mine, Martin. Martin, where are you?
Where's Martin?
Where's Martin? Yeah, there he was. Martin. So Martin rang me up and he said, you know them Chinwag things you're doing? I know somebody who should do one. And I said, all right, okay, who's that? He said, Ian Tilton. And I said, all right. Who's Ian Tilton? And he said, right, you know that picture of Kurt Cobain crying? That one up there. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
It's good that the work's known, isn't it?
But, you know, of course, then, you know, I went and looked and I knew pretty much every image. That one up there, though, it was voted one of the top 6 rock photos in the world.
Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed about that. It was Q magazine voted it number 6 of all the best rock and roll photographs ever. And the best one was that one by Penny Smith. You know the one on the Clash album, London Calling, which is absolutely fucking terrific picture and loads of atmosphere in that one. And David Bowie was one of the judges on it as well, so he really liked the Kurt one too. And yeah, so it's gone down in rock and roll history. I'm part of it, even though you didn't know who I was. It's kind of the work is known, you know. And I've always kind of done that. It's only recently that I've really sort of done talks and stuff like that. I've always just let the work speak. I'm not really shy, but you know, it's not one thing that I've really wanted, to be out there famous, because I see the bands getting famous and I just think, oh, that's too much hard work, you know, being that, and it's not really what I'm like either.
What do you remember about taking that photo?
The Kurt one. It was the same time that I'd met them, and what they liked about us was that we were the first ever to photograph them. We went over to America, especially before they were famous, and stayed with them. They were in New York at the time. They weren't living in New York, but they were playing a couple of gigs at the New Music Seminar, which is kind of like a big music event in the States, where everyone from the States who's in the industry goes over to New York and they meet up. They weren't just talking on the phone, you know, and emailing each other. So it's kind of like, you know,
CMJ.
A lot of fun to be have. And they were playing. Say again.
CMJ.
I don't know. It was just all over New York. So bands would play, and basically they get seen by people in the industry, and everyone would just have a really great time at gigs. And Mudhoney were there as well, and lots of other bands. And so basically, you know, nobody else had covered them in Europe, so we decided, right, let's go over. This band are good, and check them out. And so I had a load of other bands to photograph, of which Nirvana were one. I don't know if you've heard of a band called Tad, who were also on Sub Pop, right? So they were label mates, and you know the size of Tad. He's just like a really enormous bloke. So there was me, John, who was the journalist, John Robb, Anton Brooks, who's from around here, who was their UK, what do you call it, publicist, I suppose. And all of Tad and all of Nirvana sleeping on the floor in a little pokey apartment in New York. And on that same trip, we were out at CBGB's, and I came out of CBGB's and it started pouring down with rain, and I got, I started crossing the road, you know, jaywalking basically, and I got hit by a fucking bus that threw me in the air, and I was hospitalised on this trip. So Nirvana took pity on me, you know, and they'd go off in the daytime, and I got back to the apartment, this pokey apartment, but I was too, I just couldn't walk. They pumped me full of drugs, basically, to take away the pain. So Nirvana had a lot of pity on me, but they said, we can't stay around, we've got to do our thing, you know, in the daytime, we've got to meet and greet. And they felt a bit guilty about this, because they'd bring me back a pizza each night, and that was kind of the extent of their love for me, that's all they could do. So a year later, they remembered, you know, that we'd stuck our necks out and championed them from the beginning, and said, right, we want to give you the exclusive, come over and stay with us in Seattle. So from something that was really horrible that happened, you know, meant that I could hang out with them for about 4 days in Seattle. So that picture came about because I got access all areas all the time to, and it's one of them that that's what you really live for as a photographer, you know. So you might go on tour with a band, and then they'll go, okay, we're all going in the green room now, but if you don't mind, Ian, you keep out of it. And they weren't like that at all, you know. It was just like, hang out. That's what they meant. They meant it. They were real. They were kind of, you know, there was a real honesty about them at the time. I think things changed a bit later, really, with Kurt and the drug load that he was taking, and Courtney. That's when he cut off. So that particular shot happened when Kurt had been on stage, and it was a great gig. I was on stage with him at the side, taking pictures, and there's another one by the side of it. So the 1, 2, 3 along, and there he is. He's smashing up his amplifier and his guitar, and he walks off stage, and I get this really nice sequence of pictures of him stepping over this broken guitar, walking backstage, and I just follow him. Just me and him. Nobody else comes with us. And he sits down, and he just sort of goes, wah, bursts into tears, you know. And I'm like thinking, oh shit, what's going on? Do I take this picture or do I not? Because I wasn't kind of, I didn't know what was happening. And I thought, well, just sort of take it, click. He didn't say anything. It was okay, and that's the one that I got. And nowadays, I think if you're a paparazzi, you just go, you know. And maybe that's the reason I was there, you know, because he sort of, I'd like to think that he recognised there was something in me that wasn't pushy, you know, that they felt comfortable with, and that's the reason I was backstage. But normally you'd never be able to wander backstage.
Did he see it?
I don't know. We honestly never talked about it. And for the few days that I was there, I was thinking, wonder if Kurt's going to go, oh, Ian, I feel a bit, you know, I'm not sure about that photo that you took. It might be a bit, because other people have done in the past, you know, and they've said to me, yeah, you know, I did some pictures of, remember the other two who were, when New Order, they did their own projects, basically, and Steve and Gillian from New Order did their own project as husband and wife musical team, and they called themselves the other two, and I took these pictures, and they said, oh, afterwards, we don't want you to use those pictures. And basically, as a photographer, when you take pictures for a magazine, you own the rights to do with them what you want. You know, the band don't have any say in what happens to those pictures. You know, I, as an artist, can say, well, really, I like them, you know, and is it for ego reasons that you don't want to use it? And so it does kind of happen, you know. So you've got that dilemma sometimes.
Are you looking for a moment, or do you just snap? Or
it's kind of, there's different things that I'm kind of looking out for when I'm taking pictures. Primarily, it's about atmosphere. It's about putting some atmosphere, something emotive in a picture. And it doesn't have to be kind of the band doing anything. You're creating an atmosphere with the lighting, with what's in the background. So that's kind of number one. And when you're doing a documentary, Yeah, that is about a moment that's kind of fleeting. That's just excellent when you get that. And in the days of film, because everyone's using digital now, so you take a picture and then you look at the back and you go, yes, I've got it, that's a brilliant shot. And in the days of film, we didn't quite know what we'd got. We hoped to God that we'd got on film what we thought we'd got when we snapped it, but there might be, you know, if I'd taken a shot of somebody, and there's a picture I'll show you later of a guy called Cass, the drummer from the Senseless Things, and he's doing a projectile vomit, so I'm taking these pictures, going and thinking, I might not quite have it, you know. It might. Yeah, it might be. It might. So you're wondering what you've got when you're taking film, but you're kind of a bit stressed out, waiting for to develop the film or to come back from the lab, and that's a big difference. The anxiety level now.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm curious about, because now we live virtually in a digital age. How different it is to be a photographer now than it was when you were taking a lot of these images, which were film images.
Well, it's the anxiety factor. There were very few people that were taking pictures because everyone thought they could be a photographer, but when they did it, they just couldn't live with that level of anxiety. For example, one of my first commissions when I started working for a magazine called Sounds. Does anybody remember Sounds? It was like then we got lots of nods, okay. And one of my first commissions was to go over to San Francisco to photograph Aztec Camera, who are still going, Roddy Frame. Okay. And the editor said to me, okay, Tilly, you're going to go and take these pictures, and I don't want to worry you, but when you come back, if you don't have a front cover for us, basically we've just got a blank page, because we have no backup at all. It has to be this or nothing. No pressure. So if I'd have gone out and taken it digitally, I'd be looking at the back of the camera of the pictures of Roddy Frame going, okay, Roddy, we need to just get you there. Click, click, click. Right, I think we've got it. Okay, well, let's move on to the next scene, you know. So I know that I'm going to fly back home, and I've got the pictures, and in America I would then be backing them up. But with film, you've just got one film, haven't you? It's a latent image. You don't quite... There's so many ways you can fuck it up. And believe me, I've done it.